Oh, hey YouTube. It's me, an unshaven, barely dressed B3. Well, I'm fully dressed, but this is kind of just a lounge shirt. Back with another movie reaction review. Now, I watched this one last night after I woke in the middle of the night and couldn't go back to sleep, so I watched a movie. I hadn't seen it before, but I'm very glad I watched it. It's called The Last Dinosaur. It's pretty cool. It's by Subaraya, the people who created Ultraman. Eiji Subaraya. But it is an English film. It's about this hunter who owns an oil company, and one of his laser oil drill expeditions uh, finds a T Rex. And four of the five people in the crew get eaten, and the surviving one comes back and tells his story. There's actually, at the beginning, during the opening credits, there's this woman flipping through a kind of collage he has about himself, all these newspaper clippings and stuff about the hunter, who's a real big jerk, by the way. And that was some pretty good visual exposition, to be completely honest. Uh, but yeah, there's this woman who is a photographer, Pulitzer Prize winning, and she goes along with them, and the person from the first expedition goes along, the hunter goes along, a Japanese scientist goes along, and then a tracker from Africa named Bunta, who's like crazy tall, like way tall, goes along. He doesn't have any speaking lines though, because they they say that he only talks in his dialect, but no one understands his dialect. But he seems to understand English perfectly well, so I don't know why he doesn't just say things maybe in at least broken English or something. And the photographer seemed like a real feminist character at first, but then as soon as he turns her down for the exposition, even though the board said she was going to go, what she immediately does is seduces him and sleeps with him to get on the expedition. I was like, wow, you resorted to that really fast. I mean, it's your body, do what you want, but you resorted to that really fast for a Pulitzer Prize winning. There was this really good line in there when she first showed up. He was like, I'm not taking a woman on an expedition. And then this guy was apologizing to her. And she was like, oh, it's fine. I've heard it all before. My dad believed in the woman's place when I was growing up. And then as the assistant that apologized to was walking away, she shouted, now he thinks I could run for president. So she like talking about how she changed her father's mind. She'll change his mind too. And he's really like a womanizer. He doesn't really get involved with women, but he does start to kind of take a liking to her because she knows about hunting, she knows about guns. She kind of impresses him in a way that a woman's never impressed him before. But she's also kind of a love interest for the guy that survived the last expedition. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of like this love triangle, but it's not really a love triangle because they don't pay that much attention to it during the film. But they arrive in this warm pocket that's like above a volcano in the Arctic, where lots of prehistoric flora and fauna still exist. And the first thing we see are pteranodons. At this point, the last dinosaur title still makes sense because pteranodons are not dinosaurs. They are pterosaurs, two completely different things. Pterosaurs just lived during the time of dinosaurs, so people think they're dinosaurs a lot, but they are not. Pteranodons are pterosaurs. They arrive, and then there's also a big prehistoric mammal. So once again, not a dinosaur. And this is all suit acting, by the way. The pterosaurs are puppets, but the prehistoric mammal is a toku. This is a toku movie, so suitmation like Godzilla and Ultraman and stuff, which is what Subaraya is known for. But they go out on their expedition to find this T-Rex, and the hunter guy was like, we're not going to hunt it. The doctor said we're just going to observe it and study it and get pictures and stuff. They aren't even going to try to capture it and take it back. But we see giant leeches. We see a giant turtle. None of these are threatening. Neither of those two things are threatening. They just removed... The leeches are just like that big. They aren't huge. Like, there are leeches that are kind of that big in the real world. But these would be... I mean, whatever. They're whatever. So they remove those leeches with some salt, no big deal. The turtle doesn't bother him at all. The woman's just kind of standing on it because she thinks it's a rock, and she's taking pictures, and it kind of moves. It's kind of just a fun little moment, honestly. And then they find the T-Rex, and it's pretty cool looking. Uh, but it turns out, of course, the hunter, Mastson, or whatever his name was kind of, I could never really understand his name. It sounded like they said something different a few times when they said it, so whatever. But he kind of shoots the T Rex and they stab it with a spear and it runs off. But his intention was to hunt it the entire time. And he actually becomes quite obsessed with it. We see it eat a giant fish, and then it attacks their camp. It kills the doctor, and it steals their way out of there. It takes their laser drill because it's real shiny and it attracts it. So he takes it to his lair, which is this really cool area full of bones. Like, remember, you know the Kong graveyard from Skull Island? And also the Kong graveyard from the 2004 Kong film? It kind of looks like that. And then the T-Rex fights a Triceratops. So not the last dinosaur. Just the last T-Rex. But this is probably also the last Triceratops, because Triceratops traveled in herds, and this Triceratops has a herd nowhere to be found. So I'm going to assume it's the last Triceratops. And the T-Rex does kill it, even though it put up a pretty good fight. It was a cool fight. But the T-Rex kills it. So now these people are stranded here. And during the course of the film, they stay at the absolute least, a year in this prehistoric land. But they make spears and stuff, and they're hunting game, and they come into contact with this native tribe. And instead of becoming part of the native tribe, like you would often think they would do in films, the tribe is like hostile towards them, because at first they were leaving behind parts of game they didn't want, and the tribe was taking them and using them, because you know those ancient tribes, they don't waste anything. And then the tribe just started getting more and more hostile to them. So eventually they built a crossbow out of old parts they had at the camp, and used the crossbow to kill a member of the tribe, and then the tribe started leaving them alone. But then there was also a female in the tribe who was like collecting all the modern human stuff that they like left behind. So she became part of their group, and they named her Hazel, and that was pretty cool. But they keep running into the T-Rex, and it keeps trying to eat them, and the hunter is like, we're not going to ever have peace if we don't kill this T-Rex. So they build a catapult, and they're ready to kill it. And one of them, the one who survived the previous expedition, finds their drill capsule in the T-Rex's boneyard. And he's like, holy shit, guys, we can go home. And he makes contact with the ship, which is still there for some reason, because they're still digging for oil there. But they kind of stayed longer than they were instructed to. And they never sent a rescue party to get them because Masterson said not to send a search party to not risk any more lives. But the real reason he did that is so no one would take him away from his hunt. But then they're like, oh, we can leave. And he's like, I'm not going to leave till I kill this T-Rex. And then he uses the catapult on the T-Rex. It does not kill the T-Rex. The T-Rex totally survives and everything. And they're like, look, you're never going to kill this T-Rex. Come home with us. And he's like, no. I'm not going to come home. Everything I want is here. All I do is hunt all day, and I just live the simple life, and that's what he wanted. He just became obsessed with killing this T-Rex, and all he's ever wanted to do his entire life is hunt, and he can just do that here. And not have to worry about anything. So he stays behind. To be honest, I was kind of hoping he would die because he was a big old jerk. He was a big jerk to Hazel, too, kind of treated her as subhuman garbage. But then he ends up letting her tag along with him after he leaves, and Hazel kind of wanted to bang him anyways. Then there's also this song, the last dinosaur song. I'm going to play a little bit of the song for you. Hopefully copyright won't get me on it. Yeah, so that's a fun little song, right? I've been listening to the Iron King theme a lot, also some Toku stuff. Watch Iron King. But if you like Toku, if you like Subaraya, if you like dinosaurs or monsters or kaiju or anything like that, then this is a film for you. The Last Dinosaur is just a fun dinosaur adventure film. It's just a fun film. And I think you'll really like it. It's not a classic or anything, I would say. But it is definitely fun, and you get some cool suit acting. And that's always really cool. So that's it for the last Dinosaur movie reaction review. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. And just watch The Last Dinosaur. I think you'll really like it. If you like all my kaiju videos and stuff that I do reviews of, then you're going to like The Last Dinosaur. So that's it. Thank you all once again for your support, and I'll see you all later.